So, I would like to start today by telling you guys the story of how great it is to be a superstar. Or, if you will, the story of the other bully. Last time I was up here, I gave a speech and it was called Head Bullies. And it basically boiled down to this. Your mind is super sketchy. Don't trust it. It is maliciously critical of you, and its dream come true is for you to be in chronic misery. But there's another unignorable side to the coin. After I gave that speech, some people came up to me and they're like, yeah, great speech, or that was a waste of my time, or whatever they said. But what about the voices in me that say that I'm better than everyone else? Which brings us to the story of how great it is to be a superstar. And how would I know that? Because I was a superstar. Yeah, don't look so shocked. It was here, in this very building. I gave a speech a couple months ago, and it was called Head Bullies, and it went great, man. At the end of it, people were standing and clapping and dancing, and for a little while, when I was, the announcement period and just before I left the building, I was, on a small scale, a superstar. Well, I wasn't really. I was just the same me as I was earlier in the day, but I was surrounded by enough of a cloud of appreciation that I began to be able to notice some things in myself. On the one hand, there's just what life was really giving me in the moment. People were coming up and saying, hey, thanks, man. This meant this to me or that. And I was just trying to be as real and present with them as I can because, it's an important subject. But there was this other part of me that started to quickly identify with this speech. And I could observe it. Its company mission statement would be, I just gave a great speech. I am the greatness of that speech. So it's I'm in a group and here's a person and a person and a person and a person, but I am Curtis Child, the one who gave that speech, right? And it brings with it, so I was noticing that, and it's just kind of wired with this ego type energy. But so far, it doesn't sound so bad, right? I'm great, that's great, so great. But there are some nuances that come up when you try to put that kind of thinking into practice. But I would like to say that I think we sometimes get it a little wrong when we talk about the negative aspects of self-veneration. I think there's sort of a body of thought that says, oh, you beware of loving yourself above others, because even though it makes you feel good now, there's a hidden poison in it that will catch up to you down the road or after you die. But I would like to assert that placing yourself in a world of hierarchy and trying to put yourself at the top makes you miserable now. Either you're miserable as you're doing it, or you're going to feel the effects sometime later today. When I was in that part of me that's I'm so great, I gave this speech, it's so great. On the one hand, there's just the, I honestly was feeling hey, I did something good, I was getting recognized for it, and that felt great. But there's this other part of me that is wired with this ego, achievement type energy, and it's kind of hard to describe, but I think we probably all felt it, or most of us have to some degree. You feel it in connection with achievements or longing for achievements in your life, and it brings with it fake happiness. And I call it fake happiness because you think that you're happy, but you're not. I was noticing there's one part of your brain that's buzzing, and it's oh, I have just done something great. This is great. Technically, I'm happy. And if you don't really examine it, you can think, oh yeah, I'm happy. But if you look at it right on, in your peripheral vision, what seemed like giddy happiness is actually mostly anxiety that manifests itself in the immediate worry. Now, is life and people's reactions going to measure up to my new high opinion of myself? For example, when I was walking out of the building, sometimes people would come up to me and say, hey, when I passed by them, and they'd say, hey, that was a great speech. And then, that was cool, and thank you for that. But very quickly, the ego part began to expect and need that from people. And if it didn't, if I walked by someone and they didn't say anything, I was a little hurt. A little bit disappointed. And that is how great it is to be a superstar. When you are a superstar, walking by somebody hurts. When I was coming into Bryn Athyn College, moving past somebody, it was just a neutral experience. But now that I was top dog, unless I got a really specific, not very likely reaction from somebody, all of a sudden I was dealing with a negative experience. And even if it gets what it wants, it's not satisfied. It's just oh, okay, 3 for 3. Okay, where's someone else? Okay, what are they going to say? And it needs it to go right every time just to keep you in that agitated sort of I'm doing well state, which is actually not funner to be in than how I was before this speech. And it's robbing you of the actual experience of just feeling, hey, this is good. I did something good. I feel the affection of people, talking to people. It's robbing you of that because it's caught up in its own fame and numbers and all that stuff. And it expands so quickly. Suddenly it just jumps and jumps and jumps to like, what if more and more people thought I was greater, or if they thought I was even greater? And then the little lift you were getting before from people saying something to you still isn't enough. And those are the side effects of hierarchy. Hierarchy is a drug. And like all drugs, it creates an illusion. It's hard to get away from. It ends up wreaking havoc on your life, and it is messing us up as a species. The side effects of hierarchy, both internal and external, are absolutely everywhere, and we're all very, very familiar with them. Eating disorders, school bullying, a lot of wars, slavery, poverty, all have their roots in this idea that people can say, some people, whether it's themselves or a group that they identify with or another group that they idealize, are better than other people. And when I was in that, part of my mind that was like that, you can really start to realize it, and it's a huge monster. And it's killing people, literally and figuratively, all the time, right? This thing, this hierarchy. But before we get all like, boo-hoo, blah, 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 it's so bad, stop it, man. I think, to be fair, we should honestly ask, is it true? I mean, is it really accurate? So the idea that you can rank people in terms of their value based on achievement is a worldview. And like all worldviews, it can either be accepted or rejected, regardless of what reality actually is. So there's two believable worlds. One in which people can have a certain amount of value and you can put one above the other, and people can be better than each other. And the other one in which better is not an equality you can assign to a human being. There's no such thing as being a better or worse person. So which one is true? Well, hierarchy is true, right? I mean, there's definitely a range of what people are given. Looks, talents, attractive personalities, and viciously so. It's so bummer. I don't make the rules. But is that what we are? Are those things what we are? No. If you look at the actual experience of being a human being and just existing and walking as one, all we really are is points of consciousness that can feel and make requests. We're not our bodies. We have been placed in bodies, but the thing in me right now that's thinking and wanting to talk to you guys about it is not the source or master of my body. And how do I know that? Because we don't even know how our bodies work. We don't even know what's going on inside our bodies. We have to have other people open us up and tell us what's going on inside of us. Plus, none of us have any control over our circumstances or where we're born or the majority of the events that happen in our life. All we can do is feel and make requests. I can put out this request to move my arm, right? And it happens, but I know next to nothing about the infinitely complex reaction that had to happen to make that possible. LeBron James puts out a request to go around this dude to the basket. And it happens, and it's quick, and it's unstoppable. I was on the ANC basketball team, and we never won a game. 2 years. I put out the request. I was like, go around this guy. I'll make this shot. Slam dunk. But it didn't happen. If you're in a group of teenagers, if you're in a high school, everybody wants to say something cool and funny. But it comes to one kid, and it doesn't come to another. If you happen to be the one who says the funny thing, it's not like you went down to the essence of human funniness and from rudimentary building blocks crafted this thing together with your extensive... No! It just popped into your head. And the delivery just popped into your head. Even if you do study, it's no guarantee you'll think of something funny. Ask comedians, right? LeBron won't always make his free throws. He just requests to his body, and sometimes he bricks. The kid who doesn't say something cool is in the same mode as the kid who does say something cool. They're both sitting there wishing something would come, but it happens for one and it doesn't for the other. There's no better or worse about it. It's insane. It's absolutely insane and stupid to rank people in terms of hierarchy because you know what it's like to be on both sides. We all know the internal experience of being not as good at something as somebody. You're just there, and they're there, and you're like, man, I can't do this as well as them. Or, man, I can usually do this, why can't I do this right now? Or, man, I have no idea to do that. To take that human experience, but then rank people externally is completely divorced from reality based on what it's like to have both. And being better than somebody is just a hollow experience. You're just like chilling and like, oh, this person cannot do this at all. When for some reason, the instruction manual for it is just feeding into your head. Either side just happens to us, but for some insane reason, we assign flaws to people. Like we don't all know the experience of looking in the mirror and despairing about some physical imperfection. It's not like we will it to be there, or it's a part of us. It's not like, well, I'm like, oh yeah, well, my nose is too big, but that's a legit extension of my personality, and so it should be there. You know, does the kid who wants to be cool, but isn't cool, does he want to be cool any less than the kid who is? You guys want to rage against the machine? There's all this will to like, oh yeah, fight the power, man, fight the power. But the man is this internal order of hierarchy that makes us treat ourselves and other people horribly for no logical reason. But everybody just buys into it because it comes from inside. And internal things aren't given the scrutiny that they deserve. But not only is hierarchy false, it makes you feel like crap. It's a simple equation. You've agreed to participate in a world where people can be better than each other. Do you really think the forces that feed into that world are going to be interested in you being on top all the time? Hierarchy is a drug, and like all drugs, it creates a momentary illusion that things are going great inside you. And now I'm not calling out drug use here because I think it's especially morally wrong or something. I just think it happens to make a great metaphor for this. And that metaphor extends to a lot of substances that are within the approval of mainstream society. Alcohol, tobacco, caffeine, sugar, monosodium glutamate. Just like when you're eating junk food, you feel great when it's happening, but then later you feel like crap and you don't make the connection. At least I didn't make the connection before I learned. You know, when you're at the top with hierarchy, you can feel great. You know, okay, this feels good, but then the rest of the time you're nervous and anxious and agitated because you've placed yourself in this junk food world where people can be better than each other and where achievement equals value. Don't do hierarchy. It's not worth it. Yeah, you can get a lift for a little while, and sometimes it's that pseudo-agitated pleasure I was talking about before. But even if you get something that's more significant from it, it's still like the bad side of capitalism. Putting all the rest of us in this self-esteem poverty so that the few at the top can be like, hey, yeah, I'm pretty cool. You know? It's like crystal meth. It's fun for a while, but it will mess you up. Don't do hierarchy. The ripples go out everywhere. Don't perpetuate the drug trade. Have you guys read Emmanuel Swedenborg? I would recommend it. Time is moving forward. But if you do, you'll get an interesting perspective on hierarchy. In summary, there's no future in it. In direct opposition to hierarchy's thesis, which is, we all just happen to be here, there's limited resources, so go out and succeed before somebody else takes your spot, is this idea that we're all functioning pieces of an interdependent plan. And you can be pumped for somebody else's success because it doesn't make you less valuable. It's all the divine creator's stuff anyway, and he just gives it out to certain people at certain times out of love. Not just for that person, but more so for the rest of us, because they are going to help us. And if you think about it logically, it makes total sense. You take the ego out of it, who cares how successful or prominent some doctor is? You're in chronic abdominal pain, and they can get you out of it. Thank God they know the human body well enough to help you, or to help your child. When biologists discover a new species of organism, they don't say, oh no, now we as humans aren't as cool, you know, because this species can do something that we can't. No, they say, hooray, nature as a whole is cooler now. This is awesome. And they're right. Everything is totally awesome. Despite what your head bullies would love you to believe, the end of hierarchy is not the end of joy. It's the beginning. Because it's not us against each other. It's this alien, illusory monster of hierarchy against all of us, and it's trying to keep us from that reality. Hierarchy is a drug. Don't do it. Man, it is not worth the side effects. Thank you very much, everybody.